up, everybody? My name's Kevin Clayson, and I'm so thankful that you're here at LegacyBook.ai. And we're going to take a few minutes right now, and I'm going to go through just kind of what this process is, how Legacy Book works, how we can get you a book finally, your content, your voice, without you having to write a single word, and how we can do it very quickly. So today we're going to talk about the exact 3-step author alchemy process that we use to turn your existing content into your book. And this is what enables you to finally have that published book that you've been thinking about, that you've been hoping for, that your customers have been asking for, and give you the ability to do it without you having to personally write a single word, which is awesome. And I'm really excited to kind of share it with you and dive in. Now, let me just real briefly tell you who this is for. This presentation is for business owners, innovators, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who have excellent content and who are looking to preserve and proliferate their knowledge through a book, but you don't have the time or desire to write the book yourselves, okay? Now, let me also tell you kind of who this is not for, okay? If you have not yet mastered your content and you don't have like a substantial body of work, you don't have podcasts, courses, something like that we could pull from, this is not for you. If you are not doing, live events or online courses that you have recorded, this is not for you. If you don't even really see the value in having a book and having your genius out into the world, this book is not for you, okay? If you're not a believer in books, this is not for you. If you're not willing to invest in the growth and impact of your business at this time, then this isn't for you, okay? Let me tell you some of the people who it is for, okay? Publishing a book can be an ultimate game changer. You look at Robert Kiyosaki, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tim Ferriss, and they would tell you, they'd be the first to tell you, and I could add my voice to this, that your book would be the number one way to boost your business and propel your brand, okay? It's the number one way to expand your influence and to do it in a concrete way that really sort of instantly adds authority to the thing that you're already really good at. And this is a way to cement your legacy for your loved ones, for your kids, for your family, for your customers. And a book can be an ultimate linchpin in your business. It could be a shifting point for you, okay? All three of these men know how. We frankly wouldn't know who any of them are had it not been for a book that they'd written. And my encouragement is that you would do the same thing, because I promise you, if you're watching this, you have content that is worthy of being in a book and being sort of cemented for all time, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about me. As I mentioned, my name is Kevin Clayson, and I'm the founder of multiple done-for-you companies. We've owned a real estate investment firm for 15 years. We own a company that teaches real estate agents how to add investment real estate to their offering. And I'm also the owner and founder of Legacy Book AI, this company. And I would say that my specialty is storytelling. It's product design, right? It's designing a narrative and a linear experience for a customer to go through, so they, number one, get excited to hang out with you, number two, become your buyer, and number three, stick around for a long time, and maybe almost most importantly, refer their friends, families, clients, whatever, to you. And I am the author or co-author of 5 books. I'm the co-host of the Replace Your Income podcast, and I've delivered more than 500 keynote talks over the last 10 years for all kinds of audiences. And this book that's right here, Flip the Gratitude Switch, is a book that I've sold in more than 24 countries. And so I have a little bit of experience here, but really it's just something I'm super passionate about and something I'm really excited to share with you. And I want to just kind of share the evolution of book writing for me. And maybe this will resonate for you. I had a speaker coach tell me years and years ago that you have to write a book. You have to publish. Everybody that's an authority of any kind needs to have a book out there. And so I found myself feeling that, knowing that I needed to write, but finding so many barriers that were getting in my way of getting me to the point where I was actually writing and actually putting my content out there. And it was really frustrating. So I started to look for shortcuts. Now, the easiest thing that I did was when I was very desperate just to get published. And I had an opportunity to participate in an anthology book. So I wrote a chapter. I had been interviewed on the Entrepreneur on Fire podcast, John Lee Dumas. And he had taken some, with somebody he was kind of partnering with, had taken a bunch of entrepreneurs that they had talked to on the podcast, combined those with the transcribed, frankly, interview from Tim Ferriss and said, oh, look, you could be a published author and your name would be on a book next to Tim Ferriss. And for me, not knowing any better, I'd be like, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, that's incredible. I'm totally going to do it. So I paid money that I really didn't have at the time just to get my name in a book. And that was awesome, but I was really desperate, and frankly, it didn't really work out. You don't really get much here when you do an anthology book, but nonetheless, I was like, oh, I'm published, I'm going to do it again. So this time, I got a little bit more hopeful, right? I knocked down the barrier. I finally got published, you know, quote unquote. and so I was like, I'm going to do it again. And so this time I went to the same group and I said, I know a lot of entrepreneurs. Let me pull a bunch of people together. Let's do another one of these books, and let's do it with an interview from Barbara Corcoran, because I'm in real estate. I thought that'd be great to anchor to. And that's what we did. So I did 2 anthology books. Nobody knew about them. Nobody cared about them. They cost me money. But I was looking for an easy way to get the book written. Well, I realized that I still hadn't fully acknowledged the genius that maybe was inside of me, and I knew that I needed to write this book, Flip the Gratitude Switch. I spent 2 years writing this book. 2 years, blood, sweat, and tears. We devoted everything to this book. I walked away from my real estate company. We sold everything that we had. We went and even raised money from friends and family to help me get this book into the world, and we launched the book on John Lee Dumas's podcast, Entrepreneur on Fire, and on Bob Berg's podcast, The Go-Giver. But this took me 2 years. And as a part of those 2 years, I knew that it was my content, my message, but I wasn't a great writer. And so I still hired a ghostwriter who I ended up paying somewhere in the ballpark of like 20 grand. This was back in like 2014, 10 years ago. In order to help me polish the book. We published it, and look, this book has been sold in more than 24 countries. It's changed my life. We know that it saved, like legitimately saved at least 3 lives. It was awesome. Well, now fast forward to me going, okay, I know I love this book thing. This has worked out really well. We need to do one for our real estate company. I'd come back to our real estate company, and now I went, but I don't want to take the time to sit down and write the book again. And so we went and found a publisher. It was kind of one of these hybrid publishers, and we spent $120,000 to have interviews with people, have them turn it into a book. They were supposed to polish it up, get it all ready for print. Well, listen, after 3 years of working with people that couldn't capture my voice and me seeing a subpar product that I had paid a lot of money for, I got so frustrated, and lo and behold, the company we were working with goes out of business. So I just ended up taking the book back, rewriting it, and then I started to do something that made my journey much easier, which led us to this point right here. I started to leverage the power of human-intensive, AI-assisted tools that would allow me to get a book to the point where it was not just publishable, but it was great. And that's precisely what we did to get Micro Wins to Millions over the hump. And then as we launched our Investor Agent Academy company, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a book for this. Look, that first book on the those first couple books on the left, it took me a few months. Flip the Gratitude Switch took me 2 years. Micro Wins to Millions took me over 3 years. The Investor's Agent Blueprint, using everything that I'd learned and doing this human-intensive, AI-assisted process with content that we'd already created that was already in existence, I wrote the Investor's Agent Blueprint book in a week. Now, that went so cool that I started to talk to my friends that I knew are maybe like you and needed books but didn't have them yet. And I went to my good buddy Steve J. Larson, who was doing a live event called Dramatic Demonstrations. And I was like, bro, why don't you have a book? And he's like, because it's hard. It takes a lot of time. I don't want to do it, but I know I need to, but I don't know. And I was like, here's the deal, man. I've learned something over the last 15 years of trying to do books, and I found the easiest, most cost-efficient, most productive, most powerful way to do books that I've ever seen, and to do them in short order. And I said, here's the deal, man. You go do your dramatic demonstration workshop. You pour your genius out on the stage for 3 days, because that's what we do when we put on live events and we do podcasts and we do courses. We pour our genius into something. And I said, take that genius, give it to me, and then I'm going to transcribe it and I'm going to polish it and put it into a book. We did this book in about a week. And this book was so good that Steve Larson, when he went to take take it to a publisher told him not to touch it. It was awesome. Steve tried to reproduce the process that I showed him exactly what I was doing with this human-intensive AI-assisted process, and he couldn't duplicate it because he was missing a few of the pieces. Now, I'm going to talk for the rest of this presentation about what those pieces are, how you can do a book easier, more cost-efficient, more quickly than you ever thought possible without you having to physically write a single word. And I'm going to do it by sharing with you that you can 100% transform your existing content into a professionally crafted book without you writing a single word. And we do it through a process we call Author Alchemy. Now, this is what Steve said, by the way. He's like, dude, what you produced is so good. My publishing team doesn't even want me to touch it. I spent like 4 hours trying to do what you did, and I couldn't do it. What you do is hard. That's what Steve said. We also just did a book for Russell Brunson, which was awesome. Turned some of his content into a book. This process works, okay? Now, let's go through the 3-step Author Alchemy process. I'm going to zip through these so you know kind of high level what this looks like. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're offering and how to make this as easy and powerful as we can for you so that you could go from zero to having a book published in very short order and doing it for significantly less than all of the other ways I've ever tried. So let me show you this 3-step Author Alchemy process, okay? This is how we turn your existing content into a book, all right? Now, here's what I want you to know. You can literally have a polished manuscript in your hands in a matter of weeks, okay? So we do this by going through step 1, content alchemy. Then we go into voice alchemy. Then we go into book alchemy. Now let me show you what this is. So first of all, alchemy, I love that word because alchemy is taking something that exists and transforming it into something better, something cooler. You know, I think it was like medieval times. They would take metals and they would try to use these alchemy processes and they would try to turn it into gold, right? So alchemy is a power or process that changes or transforms something in a mysterious, magical, kind of mystical, but impressive way. And it's also sometimes the other definition of alchemy is an inexplicable or mysterious transmuting or transmutation. Napoleon Hill loves that word, right? That is what we're going to do with your content. So step 1 is content alchemy. Here's what we do. You are a genius. I know it because you're watching this. And if you're watching this, you're already an entrepreneur. You're already an innovator. You've already added tremendous value to the world. And that's why I know you're a genius. Not everybody can do what you've done. So here's the deal. You already poured your blood, sweat, and tears into your content, right? Your podcast, your live event, your online course, your masterclasses, your challenge, whatever that might be. We can take that content, transcribe it with AI, and all of a sudden it's your voice, it's your golden ideas, it's your golden nuggets that come to you when you're on stage and you find that you're sharing your content in a more powerful way than you've ever done before, and we can capture that, okay? We capture it by transcribing it. Now, I'm working on a book right now. It's a combination of documentary video, podcasts, and live presentations. If it's your voice and your content, we can alchemize it into a book manuscript, okay? And part of the reason it works is we use something we call the philosophy framework system. Now, I'm going to go through this just really briefly. The philosophy framework system, something I found to be incredibly effective, is if you have a big idea and then you have a framework that supports that idea, you've got something that can sell and that your customers will love. You know, I look at all the books on my shelves, and I could go through every one and tell you, that's the big idea I got from that book. That's the big idea I got from that book. And you know what? I can't necessarily tell you the frameworks that I learned in those books, but I know they had frameworks, because what a framework does is it gives your reader, your audience, your customer the ability to believe they can get from where they are to where they want to go and achieve the big idea that you've served them up. And the framework gives them the permission to begin. It doesn't mean they're going to remember it, but if you've got a big idea and you've got a framework that supports that big idea, you've got a book that can sell and you've got content that can powerfully transform someone's life, okay? Now, then we move to step 2. Step 2 is voice alchemy, okay? Now, not only do we have your voice in the transcribed content, but we actually we get all your personality test results. This can take some time. You're not having to write a word for the manuscript, but you're going to have to spend some time going through, and I'll show you the website in a second, doing some personality tests. doing some onboarding where I learn a little bit about your visions and your goals and your dream customer psychographics and your customer demographics and what's your company and brand info and your transcribed content. Look, if you've been at this for a while, maybe you have a marketing person, you maybe already have this somewhere in a Google Doc, but if not, we give you all the questions that you need to answer, okay? And then we take all of that and we train a custom AI with your precise voice and on your precise customer. And understand.me is where I recommend everybody go to do the personality test. Once we have your content, once we have your voice, once we understand who you are and what you're trying to accomplish, we train a custom AI module that is now going to take your content and it's going to go through the book alchemy process, okay? We develop custom prompts and instructions for AI. We feed your transcripts through this custom AI that we've built. Then we micromanage your GPT, okay? You've probably tried to use AI or ChatGPT or something like that. It probably has not produced the content that you want, right? And it didn't sound like you. This is an entirely different process, and it's why we call it human intensive AI assisted, because we will train the AI, we will create all the prompts and instructions that we need, but you have to micromanage your GPT like an employee. And we do that so you don't have to. It could take a ton of time and it could take a bunch of hours that you probably don't want to dedicate because you're busy being productive somewhere else. Then we develop additional sets of instructions to polish the content and go through it again. Now, we create a rough draft, we create a manuscript, and that's what we can deliver to you. If all you want is a manuscript, you can have a polished manuscript, your book, your content, your voice in 2 weeks or less. Is that insane or what? Now, I mentioned that, Steve Larson and Russell have kind of gone through this process. I'm going to play a clip just real quick from Steve Larson so you can hear it from himself.
She's who I'm going to next now that you did what you could. And dude, I got to tell you, so they're doing 120 books this month. And I've been on with their editors. I've been on with like developmental, structural editors, things like that. And they've all been telling me, they're like, we never get anything this detailed, ever. They're like, do you realize how easy you're making our job? We have the transcriptions from a live event plus an AI ghostwritten version. I was like, can I start writing? And they're like, don't write anything. Don't. In fact, they're like, get out of the way. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what you produced is so good, they don't want me to touch it anymore. And I was not expecting that. Like, because I spent like 4 hours doing it on my own just to see what you were doing. And it is hard. It's not copy paste transcription. You're training an employee that's just meant for that job.
So let me kind of show you what this offer is and how this works, okay? If all you want is just a base level book manuscript, here's how it works. We will do the philosophy framework consult. We will do the content transcription. We will do the done for you book manuscript. We will do some professional editing. We will create the custom GPT that we give you. And this will be 100% you, 100% your content, your voice, but you don't have to write a word. And we will turn it around in 14 days or less, okay? I've been doing this for more than a decade across multiple books. If you were to just get it transcribed, if that's all you did, you're paying at least $20 an hour. If you want to go get a book manuscript ghost written, my ghostwriter that I use for Flip the Gratitude Switch charges $50,000 just for that. That's if you want a great ghostwriter. If you want an okay ghostwriter, you pay $30,000. Professional editing, easily $1,000, right? A custom GPT creation, I don't even know how to put a value on that. It's so brand new. But the most valuable thing ever is that it's your content in your voice done your way that you can share with the world. That is incredibly valuable. So altogether, this whole thing is valued at like $32,000 at a minimum, and we charge $12,000. Okay? Here's how it works. We jump on a call. If this is a good fit for you, we can move forward. We collect half up front, we do the work, and we guarantee that we will give it to you in 14 days or less, and every day past 14 days that we don't deliver, if that were to be the case, we knock $1,000 off the total balance that you have to get to us. So that's how positive I am in this process. That is the guarantee. I guarantee we can deliver it on time according to the deal that you want to have. Now, I'll tell you this too, this package, as awesome as it is, I do have others as well. You can scroll down on this page and take a look if you want a little bit more, if you want to have a fully designed, published ready book awesome. If you want to have a published ready book and an entire sales funnel and get it published for you and all kinds of other cool stuff that we could do where it is soup to nuts, front to back, everything you could possibly imagine. So you could go from now today to fully publish on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, whatever, in 90 days or less. That's available too. You can scroll down and take a look. But my hope is that you will take me up on the offer to schedule a call. Let's jump on. Let's talk a little bit about your content. And let's see if this is a good fit for you. I guarantee you can 100% transform your existing content into a professionally crafted book without you writing a single word. That's what Legacy Book AI can do for you. And I hope that we get a chance to jump on a call and talk about it and see what it could look like for you. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Go schedule a call, click on the calendar button, and let's make it happen.